Hi, Capricorn. I have a reading for you. I'm really excited to do your reading. I have your cards out on the table, but I want to mention even before we get started that when I sat down to do my meditation before your reading, it was 4:44. So the meaning of repeated fours has to do with the angels are nearby. If you need help with anything, they're watching over you. They have your back. I just loved the synchronicity of that right as I was sitting down getting ready to meditate before this reading. So I thought I would pass that along. I also thought that I would mention as I'm looking at your cards that although you're an earth sign, I don't see any earth in this reading, which is really interesting to me. I don't have any pentacles on the table, any pentacle cards. So what I do have is cups and wands, which sets the tone a little bit for this reading right out the gate. Cups have to do with emotions, heart-centered energy, and wands have to do with taking action. So it feels like where you're at right now, if this is your reading, is in a place, or perhaps the advice is for you to be in a place where you are focused on taking aligned action. And when I say aligned, I mean in connection with your heart. Heart-led action. There is one swords card in this reading which would have more to do with thoughts, but this card isn't even your energy, and I'll get to that in a moment. But I'll start off first with what's in your underlying energy. So what's in your underlying energy, which is really interesting, because I was just saying there seems to be a current focus or a need to focus on heart-centered action. I have the Two of Cups and surrender. So when I think about your sign, I feel like this can be a challenge. And perhaps that's the whole point right now. Maybe the point is to stretch you outside of your comfort zone, to get you outside of your head, outside of really practical matters. Because Pentacles would have to do more with practical matters, to take a step back and really make sure that your actions are aligned with your heart. Two of Cups speaks about a heart-based connection. And because of that, so many people often think of the Two of Cups as a card that has to do with a romantic connection. I don't necessarily think that this is the case in your reading today, although use your discernment. If it feels like it's speaking to that, definitely trust your instincts. But it feels to me more like we're talking about a heart-based connection with the divine, especially with this surrender card, where this person is looking up with his eyes closed at the heavens. It's a very vulnerable position. You could imagine a scenario where he's asking for help, where he's asking for guidance. So it feels like that's what this connection is about. And I even have written on this card, sacred union. So of course, that can be a sacred love-based union, but in this case, I'm thinking more about sacred union in general with the divine. Because as I look further into the deck, what's underneath your Two of Cups card is Four of Swords and the Sun. I did not pull these cards for your reading, but when I picked up your Two of Cups, these are what were underneath in the deck. And what this is speaking to me about in your reading is that perhaps you've been through a difficult time that you are transitioning out of, or that you're gaining some illumination or information about a painful experience that has been maybe even transformational, or at least it has that potential. But in order for that to happen, it feels as though there's some need for surrender, for an acknowledgement that perhaps you don't need to have all the answers. The answer is simply surrender and trusting the divine to have your back. But where we're starting off to begin with is the Seven of Cups along with the Empress. The Seven of Cups opening your reading tells me that in some aspect of your life, it might feel as though you have a lot of options or you're trying to make a decision. There might be a little bit of confusion about what to do next. All of these cups that he's staring at are options on the table. And the fact that there's water coming through here, water always signifies emotions. So this is coming from an emotional place. When I look at this, I see it as somebody who is trying to sort through options that are connected with emotions and trying to do so through logic. And that might not be the best path. It might actually dam up this river. I'm seeing a lot in this card today that I don't normally see, but it feels like taking a logical approach in this scenario has the potential to dam up emotions in your system, which then leads to a clogged channel for you. When we have a clogged channel, it's hard to manifest. We can feel very stuck and unsure about what to do next. Perhaps this is why in your underlying energy there is such a need for surrender. Because in these situations, when we're coming at them from a logical place, it's often because we're trying to control a situation that's really not meant to be within our direct control necessarily. And in these cases, there's more momentum that can be created with surrender. But then what I have with that, like I said, is the Empress. The Empress is a major arcana, and you have 4 major arcana in your reading. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's half of your cards. Even the appearance of 1 major arcana in a reading signifies that we're not dealing with everyday stuff. We're dealing with life transition, major changes in someone's life. 4 major arcana in 1 reading. There's something really big that you're working through, that you're transitioning through, maybe one of the bigger transitions in your life. And maybe that's why you're trying to make such a careful decision here. Even the fact that the time was 4:44 when I was about to start meditating for your reading reinforces this message of surrender, because remember, repeating 4 signify that your angels are with you and they are available for help if you ask. And this feels like somebody who would benefit from that. So what I was saying about the Empress, though, is that this being one of your 4 major arcana, the Empress tells me that you're in a very fertile period in your life right now. It's such a contrast to this card, actually, because the Empress really signifies deeply embodied love and fertility and that feminine energy of surrender. But it's also a very powerful card. It's almost like there's power in surrender and trusting the divine rhythms in your life, trusting that even when we're about to give birth to the biggest chapters of our life, that there's divine timing involved, that we can't control all of those aspects. The Empress knows that. He does not really know that. Or if he does, he's forgotten. And then underneath that, I have this beautiful vitality card. It's come out in a couple other readings for zodiac signs as well. And the vitality card in this reading is giving a little bit of a layered message. It's suggesting that there is a lot of power in being in the present moment right now. Simply being in the present moment and absorbing everything there is to absorb around each present moment. Taking stock of where you've been, looking around you, and allowing yourself to tap into deep feelings of gratitude that can tend to be very present in the present moment when we are able to really anchor into that place. It feels like you've been through a lot. I'm almost seeing these figures as though they're emerging from that fire. And the fire signifies the fact that, like I was saying, underneath your 2 of Cups was this 4 of Swords card that signifies a difficult period, but that there is clarity and breakthrough on the heels of that. And that's what this feels like. It feels like somebody who's walked through this fire, but now look as they're emerging from it and they're literally dancing. It's like they're so thankful to be out and they can smell the scent in the air and the wind on their cheeks, and they feel so alive, and they feel so thankful to be here with their feet on the ground in this place. It's sort of like that energy is where the sweet spot is for you. The card that we're starting off with in your next row is the 9 of Cups. And then what came out along with that is the 7 of Swords. When the 9 of Cups comes out, I always emphasize that there's only 10 cups total. So if you have 9, you're very close to maximum fulfillment emotionally, because cups are emotions. This is your Sun card. This is your breakthrough, your illumination. This is where it is you want to be. But it's sort of like you're just emerging from the fire. You might not quite feel like you're here yet, but this is where you're headed. This is where there's energetic potential for you to be here. But the thing is that the 7 of Swords comes along with that. Remember I said you do have a Swords card, but it's not your energy. The 7 of Swords is sneaky energy. It seems like there's sneaky energy somewhere around you. And it's something to be on the lookout for. It's not like a huge presence in your reading, but I will say a minute ago, I picked up the deck as I was talking, and I just did it again. And what I opened up to was the Devil. So that's what this feels like to me. The Devil is simply like temptation, illusions. There's some sort of like illusion or something that is operating around you. Where you're at has some undercurrent of sneakiness, sabotage, something that could serve to block you from being able to get here. I think that's why these two came out side by side. It's like, this is where you have the energetic potential to go. This is aiming to stop you. But you're not going to let that happen because you're smart. And remember, you don't have to do all of this alone. You can ask for help. You have a lot of energetic support around you as well. And then what came out underneath that is this insight card. Just like they are emerging from the fire, he's emerging from a portal of some sort as well. The insight card in this deck is all about seeking the truth, being observant, asking the right questions, knowing yourself well enough to know where your weak spots are, because that's where this energy could operate and try to kind of wiggle its way in. Interestingly, on this card, I have written down hiding the truth. That's what I meant by like sneaky energy. It can be dishonest energy somewhere around you, hiding the truth. And this insight card specifically talks about seeking the truth, hiding the truth, seeking the truth. This person is not about to put up with any of that. Wherever it's showing up in your life, they wouldn't have it. But given everything else that has come out here, I feel like the truth that you're being asked to seek in this situation isn't necessarily truth that you're going to find by taking your really wise brain to the table to solve the problem. It feels like in seeking the truth, you're going to want to harness your heart and your instinct. You're going to want to partner spiritually, perhaps with your angels, with your guides, depending on your beliefs, whatever it is that makes you feel supported. There's definitely a message here about the need to be discerning, the need to be spiritually tapped in, and wise in the way of the Empress, wise to rhythms and cycles and intuition and deep knowing that comes from an embodied place, embodied wisdom. And then the rest of your reading really speaks about what's on the other side of this portal. And it's all beautiful stuff. What you have is the Six of Wands and the Magician coming out together in the next row. The Six of Wands is all about success. It can even be visible success. Imagine yourself on a stage receiving applause. It is accomplishment. It is, she's got her arms thrown in the air and she's being celebrated. It's that kind of success. It's really beautiful. And then the Magician came out with it. And the Magician, it's sort of the opposite of this again, where he might be trying to get here by using his head and his logic. The Magician knows better. The Magician knows how to work with energy. The Magician knows how to tap into their inner magic and use that to transform whatever kind of energies surround them. And again, another major Arcana card. So you have the Empress and the Magician. These two together are really powerful spiritual energies to me. And it's in harnessing those that leads to success. And then underneath that, I have this Beauty card. This Beauty card has also come out in several readings. And let me show you, okay? We have repeating cards showing up in our collective readings and in our zodiac sign specific readings all the time. And this deck is so big. It's so odd to me that we would have so many repeating cards. But again, it's also not odd because as a collective, we're all navigating similar things right now. But the Beauty card in this reading signifies a turning point in your message. So far, it's been about navigating through a difficult situation, stepping through the portal to the other side, getting around sticky energies, learning how to work with your magic, your intuition, your deepest somatic knowing, trusting that. But there's this additional layer to your reading that talks about your healing. And in this card, in your reading, what I'm seeing is that there's a message about the importance of you knowing and being able to appreciate and see the beauty in you. This feels like inner child work to me. And the need for that. I mean, maybe it's that if you were really hurt and stung by an experience, in order to get here, there is some deep healing that's needed, right? And in starting the reading in this energy indicates to me that there might have been a desire to bypass feeling the hurt of that, feeling and working on the transmutation of the pain that experience generated. But this card showing up and what's showing up in your next row seem to be saying powerfully that there is some deep healing to do with recognizing your worth, with recognizing that you are good enough, that you're lovable, that you're beautiful, that you're powerful. This is about self-love. This is about learning how to love yourself. And self-love came up in your next row. So these two cards really showed up to give you a unified message about the need to work on silencing the internal critic that might be especially strong right now if you recently went through a difficult situation, allowing yourself to remember your deeply inherent worth and lovability and value, and not just intellectually, but allowing yourself to feel it. To feel it. Feet on the ground, dancing embodied. These figures really show us how it's done. Not that you need to dance, although that would be amazing, but they just walked through fire and they are deeply embodied and connected with their light. They're illuminated. And that's what so much of this journey is about right now for you. It feels like very much a healing journey. And so what that beauty card came out with is the World and the Fool. Two more major arcana cards. The World is about the end of a cycle, the end of a chapter, the end of an era. And maybe that's why there's so much major arcana in here. It's like this circle. This loop, the cycle that you were on has closed, or it is closing. You're rounding the bend, you're closing out a cycle. And when we do that, we want to be able to take the lessons from that cycle with us. So these are really powerful transitions in our lives. But what's so amazing is that along with that, you have the Fool. In terms of major arcana, the World is the last card in the major arcana series. The Fool is the character who walks through all of the cards in the tarot. The Fool is the journeyer, the one on the journey. It's us. The Fool is us in the story of the tarot. When the World card comes out, the Fool has finished a cycle in their journey, and now they're starting a new one. That's what the Fool card is. It's number 0. You go from the last card in the major arcana coming out with the first card in the major arcana. The end of a cycle and the beginning of a new one. And what is the Fool all about? Complete trust and surrender. Ideally, the Fool, starting off a new season, has done the work to fully close out the previous cycle and therefore is carrying very little on their backs into the next cycle. They're venturing out on a new adventure, but they've packed light because all of the baggage that they might have brought with them has been worked through and left at the end of their previous cycle. That allows them to enter this new cycle with a beautiful lightness of spirit and to surrender to the beauty of the process, to divine timing. Even the stance in this card, you can see in the figure in this card, it's a very open, unarmored, welcoming, surrendered, very feminine energy. A very powerful way to start a new season. And that's what this whole reading is asking you to set yourself up for. The ability to do this when you're ready to turn the page. So because we started off your reading with an angel number, I thought I would close it out with one of these oracle cards instead of getting you another angel number. So one oracle card to close things out. All right, we have Portal. Wow. I just want to show you this because it is your portal. It's shown up in multiple ways in your reading. This portal that you're walking through right now, it's so cool that it showed up again at the end. So it says, doors are opening, you decide. Rewards, wild card. I want to look this up for you. I won't read the whole thing, but let's see what we have. Doors are opening for you. Planets are aligning. The timing is right. The universe is saying yes. You have the Midas touch. Your hard work is being rewarded. This is a time when you can reap the rewards for efforts made in the past. It's also a time when you can achieve a lot. Great leaps can be made. That's what this is. This is your leap. Extreme transformation can occur. You're swimming with the cosmic current of life. If you've been looking for a sign, this is your portal into that new reality. Now is the time. What experiences would you like to have? What do you want to create? What new adventure would you like to manifest? What would you most like to experience? I love that so much because you're starting off on a whole new journey, hopefully feeling really light after you do this work here, if not already. And this portal card coming out at the end really seems to highlight the fact that when you reach this portal, you get to decide what you want to do next. It's your adventure. What would you like to do? What would you like to make of it? Perhaps this isn't a puzzle to figure out with your mind. Perhaps it's a puzzle to figure out with your heart, with a deeply embodied sense of knowing. Maybe it's a season to sit with some of these questions and just inwardly feel into them and see what it is that emerges for you. It's a really exciting time in your life, and I'm so glad I got to do a reading for you as you're navigating all of this, as you're sort of starting to close that loop for yourself. Thank you so much for letting me read for you. I'll close your reading out here. If this was helpful, consider leaving some of your beautiful energy behind by liking the video, by subscribing. That little energy exchange allows me to tap into your energy more readily the next time I do a reading. Hope you take the very best care, and I'll come back with a new video soon. Bye.